And good morning, everyone. Hope everybody is having a wonderful Tuesday morning. It's only 8 o'clock where I'm at, 9 o'clock where most of you are. So today's class is going to be on icemakers, checking what you can do before pulling the unit out. So we're gonna go through this. Okay, so but one of the things that you need to realize that I always preach is safety for you, safety for the customer, not not damaging anything that the customer has. Okay, so here's let's just keep and jump right in. Okay, we're going to avoid pulling the unit if I can possibly do that. That's exactly what I want to do. I do not want to have to move this unit at all. If I can do it from the front, I want to do it from the front. Okay. So try to make we want to always try to make our repair from the front of the unit. Why do I want to do that? I'm trying to avoid any damage. Not only, and that doesn't just include scratching the floor, scratching something else. This would include water. Okay, there's nothing worse than pulling a unit out, getting it all fixed, all done. I think I'm all done. I push it back in. I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for it to produce that first batch of ice. And lo and behold, I see a drip. And I have to take it all the way up, pull it all the way back out, and I have to adjust it, fix it so that I don't have a drip. The water damage will kill you more quicker than anything. Okay, so what does damage do? Okay, the number one thing is it costs you money. Okay, it costs you. If I'm going to have a damage claim filed, I've got to contact the insurance company. I've got to. Some of the times you have to go out with the insurance company. Um, so it's in the end, it's costing you money. It's time, money, and that'll kill you every single time. Is time and money. Okay. Number two, it kind of you lose face with the customer. Okay. If the customer thinks that you don't care about them, they're not gonna call you back. You're not gonna get a repeat customer, and we all know that that's the only way that I can make any money. If I mess up one person, they tell 10. If I do a great job, I might get them to tell one other to two other people. It's the law of averages. And let me tell you, whenever you mess somebody's floor up, they tell everybody that they can get. They get on social media. They'll do anything they can, and all it does is hurt you. So just take care of somebody else's items. I mean, if I can't get it done, I want to let the customer know that I can't get it done in my expected ETA for coming back out. And you agree with our customer while you're doing all of this, and you get back out as quick as you can. Okay, same thing. Same thing is, I have to go back out 4 times. We all know, no, we all know that if I don't complete this on the first call, it costs me money. Granted, we can't go and tow a 18-wheel truck with all of the parts that we service behind us to have it 100% completion rate at first time completes. But I do the very best that I can to minimize that. Okay. And I build in a little bit more so just in case I have to go back. Okay. So here's one other thing that I always had my guys do. There's two things that I always had them do. Okay. Number one, as I'm walking into the house, I am constantly looking for damage. Okay. If I can see damage and I am going to have to pull an ice maker out and I see the floor is all scratched, and you know what? Write it down, put it on your ticket. If it's electronic, put it on your electronic ticket, have the customer initial it, just before you do anything, okay? If something happens and I'm damaging something, say I pull it out and I damage the floor somehow. You know what? The first thing I do is I call the customer in and say, well, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I accidentally damaged the floor. Here, I just wanted you to see it. I'm going to take pictures of it, and I'll get back with you on it. Okay. So a lot of the times, if it's something super minimal or it's not really noticeable, a lot of the times you can talk to the customer and the customer will let it, some of the times will let it go. Depends on how bad it is. Okay. Now, if I'm going to do all of this and I'm trying to do everything that I can and I damage something and I let them know. I mean, the one thing that as a business owner, the one thing that you could do as a technician, and you know, I couldn't tolerate with if I was as a business owner. If I am not protecting the customer's property, I'm sorry, but you can be the greatest technician in the world, but I can't afford a $10,000 claim. And let me tell you, I had one claim that cost me $9,000, and there's a picture of it a little bit later on, because we had to rip up the whole floor to replace it. We couldn't just replace one little piece; it had to be the whole floor. Okay, so if I'm not protecting the customer's home, I can't use you as a technician. And I mean, that's cruel and that's mean, but I, you got to have protection. And you know what? Every once in a while, we all make mistakes. You know what? I may get in a big hurry and I may not be able to protect. I may not. I may do something that I normally wouldn't do if I'm in a hurry. That's the reason you have to always not be in a hurry. You have to take your time. Yeah, and you know what? Whenever I was a technician, that was the one thing that bothered me was I had an appointment. I had a 2-hour window that I had agreed with the customer. Okay, that I would meet that 2-hour window. I wanted to be there within that 2-hour window. But I will tell you this: if I realize that I'm not going to make it, let's say I'm only going to be 5 minutes late, I don't care. I call and I let the customer know, hey, Miss Jones, I've got tied up on another call. I'm running a little late. I'm going to be at your house, but I need to you need to give me an extra hour. Okay. Because you don't know what's going to happen between this call and the next call. You could have an accident. You could get you could not be in the accident. You could just be in traffic in the accident, and you can't make it. So you have to keep the customer apprised of your situation. I had whenever I started my own business, we gave a 2-hour window, and then I gave a 30-minute call ahead. And the reason that I gave a 30-minute call ahead was I told the customer and everybody in my company, when they called, they said, you need to be home, because if you're not home or you're not answering the phone, I may not make it. We did a thing where we tried something and we literally would not go to your house if we couldn't get in touch with you. If I don't get you in the morning and I don't get you my 30-minute call ahead, I probably am not coming down by your house. That costs me money as a business. So granted, we have some customers call back and said, hey, I was at my neighbor's house. Well, you didn't answer the phone. We all have cell phones today. I need a cell phone number. Okay. That was whenever somebody was at my office, and they were answering the phones. And they got a call. We always ask for a cell phone number. Okay, that's one way. If I can't get it, I want a cell phone, and I want a home phone if I can get it. I'll be honest with you. Today, I don't even have a home phone. All I have is a cell phone. I didn't find any need for a home phone. The only reason I ever got anything from the home phone was solicitation calls. So I just cut my home phone out. But I've got a cell phone. Okay, so like I said, I want to protect the customer's property any way that I can do it. Okay. We always, number one, we always had shoe covers. If I caught you and you didn't put your booties on and you tracked mud inside this customer's home, as a technician, you're the one that had to pay for that. We would set it up, and I would have to have somebody go out and do it, but you're the one that had to pay for it. There's no excuse for you not taking care of a customer's home. You should take care of a customer's home as good or better than any thing at your own home. I don't want mud on my floors. That's just a personal thing. I don't live in a barn, so make sure that we're taking care of the customer. The other thing is, and I bought these for my technicians, and if I caught you, and I caught several with their not having this mat. Now you see this one is actually $18.99. Okay. It doesn't have to be a $20 mat. Okay. It doesn't have to be that. Use a towel. Use something that protects the customer's property. Okay. And it's not just the around. It needs to be where I'm putting this mat down for my toolbox and any tools that I have out. It can be a towel. I don't care what it was. You just had to take care of it. But me as a business owner, I gave everybody a little mat. We actually had the mats custom made from iPrint and had our company name on them. And that was a tool that you had in your that you were assigned. Okay. So if you lost it, then you ended up having to buy it. Okay. So I'm just telling you, this is something that we really, really need to take care of the customer's home. Okay. Damaged flooring nuisance. See the one in the center? See that little gouge? It's not a big thing. I should have been able to, my flooring guy should have been able to come in, either cut a little piece out or take an oven and an iron and get it so that it was not noticeable. This customer swore it was noticeable. They could see it. It went over and over with the insurance company. Finally, the insurance company paid for it, but that cost me. Why did it cost me? My rates went up the next year. And if you have this one on the left, you should never have something that damaged on a floor. That is just pure not taking care and not caring. Okay. Well, again, we're talking about ice makers, but here's an example on the far right is a water issue. Okay. You need to make sure that you wait at least 5 to 10 minutes, like a cycle in an ice maker, just to check and make sure that you don't have any leaks. Okay. And if you pull a unit out and it has leaked previously, you need to let that customer know, hey, I discovered this whenever I pulled this out. I just wanted to make you aware of it. Here's my ticket. I'm going to have you sign off that I didn't do that. Okay. So you need to make sure that I'm taking care of the customer's home. Okay. Number one thing that I always had. Okay. I didn't have, there's going to be 3 examples. I didn't have what was on the far right. Okay. This air sled that's on the far right, that's about $1,200. whenever I was doing it, it was almost 2,000. Okay, so I didn't have one of these, but let me tell you, I actually went to work for a company, and we were issued one of these. I love these. This is the cat's meow. Okay, you literally there. Mine had a strap on it. I could literally inflate it, pick up a refrigerator. I could pick up an ice maker. I could pick up anything. Okay, it would allow me to do things that I couldn't do by myself. Okay. The thing that I furnished was the one on the left. That way, it covers a wide variety. My ice makers, I could put that up under the corner, up on the very front, pull it forward, and I didn't damage anything. Okay. Or you can use the one on the center here, and that would work fine for an ice maker. The only problem that you will have is you have to be careful because the condensing coil is on the bottom, and if something has gotten in there, you can actually damage the floor, even though you're trying not to. You could damage the floor, so you want to be sure that I cannot damage flooring. Okay. I have seen other people use other things. Whatever you do, just protect the floor. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Okay. We've got to take care of the customer's home. Things that used to be 40 years ago okay with a customer are not okay with the customer today. Okay. What are some of the things that I can do from the front of the unit? Okay. I can do so many things from the front of the unit where I do not have to pull this unit out at all. Okay. I can adjust the water valve. Okay. If I need to adjust the water valve, there you see the slots in the back. All I have to do is loosen a couple of screws and it can slide up or slide down. I'm always going to turn my water off whenever I go to make my adjustment. Okay. I have seen that it was plastic. The line that was coming into this water valve was plastic, and it was about 15 years old. Okay. And the plastic was rotten, and it had deteriorated to the point where it leaked. Okay. We just need to be sure that we're trying to do everything we can to prevent any leaks. That one, there was nothing that I could do. I ended up having to turn the water off to the house because there was no built-in shutoff valve. Okay. That's one of the things that you need to make sure that you know before you ever get involved in anything else. I need to know things like if I'm there because I have a water issue, I want to be able to know where the shutoff valve is. Okay. In case I have to use it. All right. So this is one of the things that I can do from the front of the unit. I can adjust the float valve. Okay. So what else can I do from the front of the unit? Okay. If this is from a DC 33 Scotsman ice maker, I can adjust the cycle timer. Okay. So what is the cycle timer in a Scotsman ice maker? This tells me how long it fills with the water. So if I need to adjust the water fill, I can do it by loosening that screw on the very bottom. Okay. Sliding that gear around and tightening it back down. If I need less time, I can do the same thing and turn that gear so it's smaller, so it would be counterclockwise. Okay. Or if I need more time, which is what usually happens as sediment gets into the system, I have to open it up, maybe not a lot, but just a little bit. I've opened it up, turn it on, and that way I get more fill. Okay. So before I make any adjustments, though, I want to check and make sure that I have got the right water coming in. I've got making sure that I don't have any leaks where it's leaking through. there's so many. I need to check everything before I just assume that this is my problem. Okay, so I will go out. I will start to watch it. I will look as I turn it on. Um, I will look for leaks. You would be surprised. I had one customer that had it was a Whirlpool. Um, it was actually a KitchenAid ice maker, and he had forgotten that he had pulled the plug, and he was wondering why his ice maker never worked. And it was simple as me walking in, seeing that the plug was missing, asking him where the plug was, and he was like, "I don't know." Well, I happened to I made sure that I kept a plug on my truck, so I used his plug, charged him his money, my diagnostic fee, my trip fee, and my the fee for the part, and we left happy. He called me back three days later and said, "Hey, listen, I found my plug," and I said, "Sorry, we're done. Um, you got one for the next time." Okay. If he's like me, he put it up so he didn't lose it, and then he ended up losing it anyway. But that's why this program for Encompass is so great for keeping track of your parts. Okay. So what else can I do? If something happens, this is a timer motor. Okay. It has gears that run behind it. I could check to see that I'm getting power to all the parts where I need to get power. So I can do that with this in the front. Okay. I can check my timer motor so that I know that my motor's turning. Okay. You don't have to get to the back to do all this. You need to know what you are actually looking for. Now, on a Scotsman DC-33, you do have to remove the ice maker to replace the pump. Okay, that's one of the things that I don't really like, but it is what it is, and you know that going into it. Okay, I also, if I have to replace the pump, I'm charging accordingly to that. I know that it's going to take me a lot of extra time. Okay. The other thing that I can't do, that I have to pull the unit out if something happens and I need to check the evaporator where it makes the ice. Some of the times you have them where they are actually they actually get deformed, and the ice won't stick, or the ice will only stick and it won't release. So I have to remove it to check any of those. Okay, those are all difficult things to do that I have to remove the unit on. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So we're adjusting the cycle timer. The adjustment. I can check my switch. Used to be that you could replace these switches. They just had two Phillips head screws, small. They have changed that, and they are now brads. So you can't replace that switch anymore. I have to replace this whole timer motor if I am going to fix it. Okay. One of the other things that I can do is I can adjust the cube size. Okay. Here's a different way. This is actually a Manitowoc under the counter ice maker. So I can adjust on my other one that we just went on, the DC-33. The way that I adjust those cube sizes is with that timer. Okay, adjusting this cube size on this one. If you look, it's an adjusting screw that's on the very front of the unit. What am I looking for? I want to make it so that my bridge thickness is about 1/8 of an inch. Okay. If I have more than an eighth of an inch in the cubes, it won't break apart when it hits. Okay, that's the reason you have the 1/8 inch. If something happens and it's too thick, or too thin, I can adjust it by adjusting that screw that's on the left-hand picture. Okay. Whenever I turn it clockwise, it pulls it out. That way that makes the ice thicker. If I turn it counterclockwise, that pulls the unit in and it will harvest faster. So this is what actually makes the unit go into harvest. Okay. If something happens and I have an uneven pattern, this will affect the ice machine, but everybody knows that's a different problem than what we're going to do. At that time, at this point, I would have to remove the ice maker to be able to check it. Okay. So we're talking about the ice maker. We're talking about the adjusting screw for the cube size control. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the water distributor. Okay. On that ice maker that we just saw, okay, you can remove the water distribution tube from the front. You don't have to do it from the back. Okay. So if you look, there's 2 thumb screws. You just remove those 2 thumb screws. I have to remove the ice thickness probe. Okay. You may have to readjust it whenever you put it back in. You may. I always check. It's the reason you always check to make sure that things are right. I don't want to have to make a return trip. Like I said, if I have to come back, I'm losing money. Okay. This is the distribution tube that I will be able to remove from the front. Okay. One of the other things that I can do, let's say that I've got the DC33. That DC33 is a very compact refrigerator. Ice maker. So is the Whirlpool and the KitchenAid compact one. They are very easy to get to. The problem is getting inside of them. My hands and my shoulders a little wide, but I was always able to work my way around so that I could get to it from the inside. Okay. A lot of the problems that I'm going to find, and as I was talking to a friend of mine that's in HVAC, was people don't clean their condensing coils. Okay, same thing with ice makers. Pets love to lay in front of the ice maker. Okay, that's a great place for them. It's nice and warm, especially in the wintertime. It's just a great place for the pet to play. It could be a cat, could be a dog, doesn't matter. But they will lay right there, and pet hair will get sucked into the condensing coil. It causes the unit to go off on overload, or it could just slow the ice production. So we're going to get to it a little bit later, but whenever I came and I looked for what the problem was, I always pulled my bottom toe plate so that I could look and make sure that I didn't have any problems. Okay, if something happens, and I can tell if this unit has been taken care of by the customer. If it hasn't been taken care of by the customer, I can tell that it hasn't had Scotsman recommends, Uline recommends, Whirlpool and KitchenAid recommend cleaning their ice makers at least every 6 months. If I have something that has been a year, I can tell that it's been not been taken care of. The only thing I will caution you about is making sure that it's not on well water. Well water throws everything into the mix. The customer will have to do this a whole lot faster. But if I see that this customer hasn't been taking care of their unit, me being a technician, I have another option. I can put them on a PMP plan, okay? A preventative maintenance plan, okay? I can say, Miss Jones, let me give you a preventative maintenance plan. We'll come out just like every 6 months. We'll take care of this for you. You don't have to worry about it. We will come out and we will do this every time we come out. Now, That takes you time. Okay. To do an ice maker properly takes you about, I know people are going to tell me that I'm crazy, but by the time that I get into the door, out of the door, I've got an hour that I've spent. Okay. I charge accordingly. Okay. And I had a gentleman in Texas he was trying to get information on a preventative maintenance plan. Okay. I did everything I could. I had a friend of mine that used to be in the business. Like I said, I'm old, I'm 64. He had retired. So I was unable to reach him. But, if you want some help, search out your local people that do preventative maintenance plans or extended warranties, any of those. Okay. Most of the extended warranty companies, they can give you a quote of what it would cost you to start a plan, and it's going to determine how many plans you actually sell. A lot of the times you don't want to, you probably aren't going to sell, but 15, 20 a year, but still it gives the customer peace of mind, gives you peace of mind. Not only that, you're doing the customer a service. So you're actually helping the customer out. So just do what you can when you can. Okay. The other thing that I can do, I can make door adjustments. Okay. So the one on the left is the Manitowoc under the counter. It has a slides. A lot of the times the slides will get all gunked up. So you have to remove the door. You have to come back in and clean everything out. You have to put silicone on it. Of course, you're using food grade silicone. Okay. Don't be using regular silicone. It'll mess it up. It makes it unsanitary. Okay. So I can remove the front door. I can clean the track out. I can adjust it if I need to adjust it a little bit. Okay. I can then lubricate it, put it back in, and boom, I'm done. Okay. On the Scotsman here, the DC-33, whenever the ice maker comes, it comes with a right-handed door. Okay. I can reverse the door so that I've got a left-handed door. I can adjust anytime, a lot of times to the door if it's not closing properly. Once again, I can take the two screws out of the bottom with a toe plate, and I can check. I can check and make sure that my condensing coil is good. Okay. So here's what I'm talking about. This is actually on a DC-33. The condensing coil, you can tell this one has been cleaned. If you look on the bottom left over here, he has cleaned that coil, and there's just a little bit of trash still left there. Okay. So number one, you can't use a wire brush. You'll damage the coils. You can't put a lot of pressure on it, or else you'll damage the coils. Okay. If something happens and I accidentally damage my coils, I keep a fin brush in my bag so that I can clean make the fins so that the air circulates properly. A lot of the times you'll find them that they're bent, so I always had my fin coil brush in my bag. Okay, so one of the other things that I'm going to do is I can take and use compressed air, a little can of compressed air, and I can blow through it to make sure if I come up and this thing is totally clogged, I'm going to take a little bit of extra time. I'm going to clean it like it is right here, and then I'm going to spray my air through it so that because a lot of the times if it's caked in too bad, you won't be able to get it where it's all the way in the back. Okay. So I've got to make sure that that the air has circulation, because if I don't have the correct circulation, I am going to cause this unit to overheat. I will get a funky frost pattern. I will get long cycle times. It'll mess everything up. Okay. So the last thing that we're going to talk about is performing cleaning. I can do a cleaning from the front of the machine. The only time I have to do something different than that is if I have to go back in and access from the back the something to do with the condenser fan, the something to do with the compressor. There's all kinds of things that you can do from the back, but you don't have to unless you have to get into one of those parts. Okay, so we're going to go through how to do a cleaning. Okay, this is basically almost any unit. Okay, everybody wants you to use their specific brand of cleaner. Okay, but you know, you just can't. If I've got a Scotsman and I'm working on a Manitowoc, and I don't have any Manitowoc cleaner, I'm going to use the Scotsman cleaner. I can't use bleach. The only thing you can use bleach for is the exterior. If you go, let's go back up here. Okay, and whenever I say exterior, okay, right here on the very bottom, and right here on the panel here on this Scotsman, I can clean that. I wouldn't do it with this stainless steel. I would use stainless steel cleaner, but I can do the inside of it. I cannot go above that one line right there. I can only do that on the bottom with cleaner. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not sanitary. The last thing you want is to put bleach into somebody's drinking water. Okay, so like I said, here's your Scotsman cleaner, your scale remover, your household bleach. Like I said, you can do the outsides with that. I can use the Dawn Platinum. I can use that. I always kept a pair of gloves because the Scotsman cleaner, if you get it on your hands, it doesn't really hurt you, but it will make them really your fingertips really brittle. Okay. The other thing I always had was one of these little small cleaning brushes. Out of this whole list, okay, you have to have the cleaner and the descaler. Okay. I needed a measuring cup. Okay. I need a cleaning cloth and a brush, and I needed some gloves. Okay. That's what I kept in my truck. I didn't keep household bleach in my truck. That's a MSDS sheet that I didn't want to have to carry. Same thing with Dawn dishwashing liquid. That's an MSDS sheet that you have got to have if I'm carrying it around in my commercial truck. But you can get the Scotsman concentrate. You can get that online. Your descaler, your ice machine cleaner, you can find those both online. You're required by the state to make sure that you have it available. So if you get pulled over, you have to have anything that has an MSDS sheet. I have to have that in a binder, or that had to be in binder, but I kept mine in a binder, so it was nice and neat. But I kept it in a binder, and I had it up under my front seat, so it was readily available whenever I needed it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a solution of clean water and cleaner and warm water. Okay, depending on the amount of mineral buildup, a larger quantity of solution may be required. Use the ratio in the table below to mix enough solution to be thoroughly clean all parts. Solution type should be type water mixed with cleaner, 1 gallon to 16 gallons, 1 gallon of water to 16 ounces of cleaner. Okay, that's normal. That's what a normal one is. I removed the chart, so I'll tell you that right now. I did remove that. Okay. The step 2 is to take 1/2 of the cleaner, okay, to clean all the components. The cleaner solution will foam when it comes in contact with limescale. I love this, okay, or a mineral deposit, okay. Once the foaming stops, a soft bristle brush, a sponge or a cloth, like it says, don't use a wire brush, to carefully clean the parts. Soak the parts for 5 minutes. If it's heavily scaled, I'm going to let it go for 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to rinse all the components with clean water. Okay. While the components are soaking, what I'm going to do, once again, I want to keep everything moving. Okay. I don't want to just sit there and twiddle my thumbs for 5 to 10 minutes. I can do so much more in 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. I'm going to, while those components are soaking, I'm going to use half the cleaner solution to clean all the food surfaces of the ice machine in the bin. Use a nylon brush or a cloth to wipe thoroughly following the ice machine areas. Okay. Any evaporator plastic parts, you can use it on the top and the bottom sides, the bin sides, and then rinse all the areas thoroughly with clean water. Okay. Step 4, I'm going to mix a solution of sanitizer and warm water. Okay. So the sanitizer that I'm going to mix, okay, is 6 gallons to 4 ounces of sanitizer. Okay. So I'm going to need something that holds a gallon. That should be 1 gallon, not 6. I apologize. Of sanitizer. Mixed water is 1 gallon with 4 ounces of sanitizer. Okay. So step 5, I'm going to use 1/2 of the sanitizer solution to sanitize all and remove all components. Use a cloth or sponge to liberally apply the solution to all the surfaces of the removed parts. I'm going to soak the removed parts in the sanitizer solution, and then I'm never going to rinse these. Okay. If you rinse them, you just defeated your whole purpose. It's not sanitary anymore. So I'm going to use half of the sanitizer solution to sanitize all food zone surfaces of the ice machine and bin. That's after I've already cleaned them. Okay. Use a cloth or sponge to liberally apply the solution. When sanitized, pay particular attention to the following areas. The evaporator plastic parts includes the top, bottom, and sides of the evaporator, the bin, bottom, sides, and top. And I do not rinse the sanitized area. Okay. This is why I had a set of gloves, okay, that I kept with me. Always make sure that you're doing what I say. Safety for you, safety for the customer, protect the customer. Home. Okay. So I'm going to do all this. Whenever I get done, all of it's going to do is drain. Okay. I do not add anything else to, once I've sanitized it, I do not do anything else. I let the sanitizer remain where it is. Okay. So step 7, I'm going to replace all of those parts that I have removed out of it. What part? Do you remember what parts we had talked about? I'm going to have to remove the float valve. I'm going to have to remove the tray. I'm going to have to remove the where the water flows across the parts. You can't do that in a DC-33. With a DC-33, all I do is fill it up with I fill the cleaner up, let it go through this cleaning cycle. Whenever I release the water, it'll fill back up with water. I pour my solution in there. and I've sanitized the unit. I'm doing this so that I don't get once a customer, you have a customer and it gets a slime, you gotta have a cleaning done. And that usually was back whenever I was doing it was $100 because I made sure that I got everything done, and they may never get it again. I always offered it to the customer, and if I had to come back, I had to come back. But I offered it so that there's nothing worse than finding a piece of slime. If I'm a restaurant, they will shut a restaurant down if they find that. Okay. So after I have gone through and I've applied liberally all the sanitation stuff, I'm going to replace all the removed components. I'll reapply the power and the water to the ice machine and place the toggle switch in the wash position. Okay. I'm going to add the proper of sanitizer to the water trough. Okay. 1.5 ounces. I'm going to watch. Okay. Until the sanitize cycle is complete, about 22 minutes. Then place the toggle switch in the off position. Disconnect the power and the water supplies to the ice machine. Okay. Then I'm going to repeat step 6 to remove all the parts for hand sanitizing. Mix the solution. Step number 9, I'm going to use all the sanitizer solution and water to sanitize all the components. We'll go through the same thing all over again. Okay. I'm going to use all this information. I'm going to replace it, reapply the power to the ice machine, place the toggle switch in the on position. I'm going to wait for it to start to at least make ice. I usually try to watch it through one cycle, which is usually about somewhere around 14 to 15 minutes. Whenever I was doing that, I was filling out my paperwork. I was double checking my model and serial number, and I was getting the customer out there so that I had to have them sign. Okay. I don't know what you guys did. The business that I owned, we would not go into a home. We would not go into a home unless somebody there was 18 years of age. I did not need one of my technicians going into a home that I had a minor in. That's just not good business. Okay. So I have the questions section. Does anybody have any questions about what we needed to do, what we can do with the ice machine not removed from the hole?